Welcome to Mechanicy Stuff. Welcome to Mechanicy Stuff. Today's adventure is we're going to fit the oil seal and fit the flywheel and fit the clutch to Fiona. And obviously after that the engine goes in. If you want to see that video, like and subscribe, press the bell icon and it'll let you know when that video's up. Right, let's get on. We're going to stick, we're reusing oil seals. I suppose it is an oil seal to a degree. I've gone through this before. It displaces the oil and lets it dribble back in. So we'll just bang some hematite, or whatever you want to call it these days, back on. Not vast amounts. As I keep saying, it don't really matter because she's going to, if it runs, which I'm sure she will, we should be able to source all the new gaskets or gasket papers or whatever to you know, do it properly, as they say. You know something, I'm just looking at that. I think I've made a boo-boo because it looks like it's been bashed with a blooming hammer at some point, and we're not going to be able to get the nuts in. Let me just take that over to, I'll take this over to the anvil and just go to the vise at least. And we'll see if we can undo some of this bodgery here. That's busted off. Why people do this, I just honestly don't know. That should do. We should be able to get that knocked up a little bit. Right, if you stick that back on, stick that on there. Of course, everything's sticking to my bloody hands now. Stick that on there. Stick him on there. You can find that. It's alright, fiddle, isn't it? That. Okay, little bolt there. Stick him in there. Right. God, that's horrible sticky stuff, is that? A little cloth and try and get that crap off your hands. Horrible. And obviously it does the job, doesn't it? Remember though, when using stuff like this, don't lather it up everywhere. For God's sake, you know, if you're going to use silicone, which has to be put, I actually detest silicone. I think silicone it works, yeah. Tiger Seal's better. Tiger Seal is a lot better. Right, so if we can get all those in, you know, we might be able to get a little 12mm socket on that. As long as it doesn't pee all over the floor, I don't suppose it really matters, does it? I mean, it's, you know, all old cars drip a little bit. did notice what Mr. Dutton did on his car, Ivan Dutton. They put a, I think it's like what you puppy train your dog, actually underneath the sump to catch any oil spills, which I thought was a rather clever idea, to be honest. And he's a very clever chap, isn't he, him and John? Very clever. Right. Let's just see if we find a 12mm socket. I promise one day I will tidy up. But I just never ever seem to get a chance. And I'll just the extra of course, I'll turn it better. Just to run them on. I suppose if I wanted to be a hooligan, I could use the electric one. Just wondering whether I could turn this crank, because I've got a woodruff key to sit in there. I'm just looking at the flywheel there, the clutch plate. I thought that spring, I thought that spring went on there. If it does, it doesn't do any bloody good, does it? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Looks like I'm a little bit mixed up here. I shall have a, while I'm screwing these in, I shall have a think about it. Problem is, when I stripped it, and then my brother-in-law and his family came over from New Zealand, so obviously we went off having jolly times and doing things, and I've forgotten. I don't see what good it would do there, personally, unless the flywheel is, maybe, right, of course it does, yes it does. No, it's alright, just me being a knob again. Right, 12mm spanner, can we go around it? Tighten. I don't think it's silly tight, does it? Holding this oil thrower thing immediately on. Did quite hard. I'm trying to work on this thing while it's swinging in the air, but I don't really have a choice because I don't have a table strong enough to sit it on. Right, that's right, yeah, because that goes on there. I remember now. I think the key will have to sit just give that a little tap-a-rooney in. That's in the welded up flywheel. wants a walloper, not a metal one. So let's tap it over the keyway. In fact, we can probably draw that on now. Now we've got some threads there. Oh, buggered nut. There we go. That doesn't feel right. Looks right. What size is that? It's supposed to be 3/4. This is an inherited socket. That's been walloped. Let me just go to my 3/4 and get a socket box and get a right one. There's that one. That's imperial. Just down there at the floor, isn't it? Silly Billy. It'll be the same as the hubcap sizes, no doubt. And it's not. I don't know why that won't fit in there. It's always something, isn't it? Always something. It's the right size. Oh, I see. I see. Right, we should have to break off a little bit while I sort this out. I'm going to have to file it out by hand, okay? Right, we're back now. I just had to file the square out. Somebody had it in a press in the past, you know, and basically just squashed the ends in. So hopefully we should be able to... Let's just take it over. Right. We'll just jam a little bit of rag in this side, which will get caught between the crank and the cam teeth, and hopefully should hold it just enough to... There we go. Oh, I don't like doing this whilst it's swinging in the air. Tell you what we'll try and do. See if we can lower it. I don't think that's strong enough. I'll just find a little piece of plywood, just 2 secs. I'll stick a bit of plywood underneath it. We'll see if we can lower the engine down onto it. That should give us a good base. You know, to arrive on it. Nice and slowly. There we go. Smash it. Let's just tighten that back up. So I'm guessing we'll want it in the air to stick in the culture. We'll just get my kneeler. Oh, bloody old might be right. Need a racket anyway. There we go. Throwing them on nicely. I don't have any torque settings for this, so I think it'll just have to be when I feel happy. Just looking in there, making sure the back of the flywheel is going to be pushing up against the spring washer and the oil seal doesn't feel to be any resistance yet. I can't see them, but I don't think that's anywhere near. It's not. You'll not be able to see what I'm looking at, but basically the back of the flywheel has got a dome on it, and that's getting there, that's getting there. Yeah, that might be better. Can't really see where my fingers are. There's actually a dome on the back of the flywheel that's just touching the oil seal now. As I understand, that washer, sorry, the back of the flywheel, applies pressure onto the spring washer, which applies pressure onto the small part of the oil seal. There we go. I don't think that's a million miles off though, personally. Right, I don't know if you can see it, but in the end of the flywheel there's a tiny little threaded hole, and there's a tiny little grub screw with a slit head on, and that stops the flywheel coming off. I thought it was a very, very, very clever idea. It would be if I could get it in. Let me just get up off my knees and swap round the other side. You won't be able to see me get it in. Very, very fiddly. Very fiddly indeed. Right, that feels like it's in. Let me just get a smaller screwdriver in there. Other one. And with a reasonably strong head. Then, it won't whack on the there she blows. I wonder eventually we'll probably put some Loctite on that, but I don't think that bugger's going to come out, do you? Right, driven plate time. In theory, if that nut's on far enough, that should, and it does. Obviously we've got to centre this, so no sniggering. I came up with a centering tool. It's basically a piece of bar, and that's the inside of an old bearing, and it was just too bloody small. So, but I found, put a wind of gaffer tape round it, there's actually 2 winds of gaffer tape around that bit. It actually fits really, really, really well. So if we take said finger clutch, I'm trying to think where the holes are that way. That sits in there like that, and we'll just bob it on for the time being, like that, till I can find where it's centred. There we are, there's 2 holes there. That is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a couple of screws in just to hold this, and we'll put the centering tool in, sneak one in there, and we should be able to centre. Oh, you bugger. We should be able to centre the friction plate, driven plate, I think it's called. Oh, the bloody hell, there we go. There's one. We got that right there. Yes, we have. And we'll pop one in down here. Oh my lovely. There we go. In fact, what we'll do is we'll pop 4 in, and we know it's going to be reasonably popping in up there. Well, this has obviously been off before, because all the bloody nuts and bolts are different. There are some are set screws, and some are, or 2 are 12 millis. That should keep it in thingy. Right, super duper. So get you in. Oh, you bastard won't go in a minute now. I've cocked up. Right, I need to shorten this. Right, you have to give me 2 minutes. And I'll just go and hack some off this, because I forgot about the bloody crank when I made it. Hello again. Right, I've basically chopped 1 inch off the end here. Can't really call it Mark 2, can we? Call it Mark 1.5. That sits inside the driven plate, and that brings it out there. So in theory, sneak him in like that, it should be near enough centred. You know, there's probably a jiggity pokers with the splines. Right, so what we'll do, all these screws need to be put in, and we have to do them sort of just there, you know what I mean, and then it'll have to be drawn up steadily. Well, I should probably be able to do that, can't we? Yes, we can. Right, let's get all these in. If you don't centralise the driven plate, you're just making a rod for your back. It's bad enough to get on anyway, you know, to get the splines lined up in the gearbox into the driven plate. But if it's off, I mean, when I do the Land Rovers years ago, I chopped the input shaft out of a gearbox. It was an old Series 2 gearbox, would be worth a bloody fortune now. And I have it in the drawer up there. I've actually just inherited another one, so somebody else had the same idea. They work really, really well. You just blow them off with a gas axe and do exactly the same as this. Poke it in and do you feel odd? You don't feel that one. No? Yes, no? Yes. All these Walcker things. Oh, we're getting close, aren't we? Bloody hell. I'm on the lookout for pistons and new piston rings and all that. In fact, I'm going to go to the motor car museum, the vintage car museum, and I'm going to ask them where they get their bits from, because it's actually a private collection. The chap, and there's some absolute crackers in there. Well, you'll see. If he lets me, I'll photograph. I'll take a load of photographs. Maybe see if I can do a short video inside, but again, you know, it's his private collection, he might not want that, so I can't really say until I've spoken to him. Right, firm, 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 firm. Right, I'll go around. I wonder if we ought to do it. Just do it like this, maybe just keep going round. See, that's pulled it in that 1/8 of an inch, isn't it? I don't know if going across like you would do with a cylinder head would be in a bit. Don't think it's going to be. No, I can't remember, to be honest. I've done a fair few clutches. They're not bloody different, aren't they? Never done one like this. I mean, to be fair, it does look like it's maximum adjustment as well, but we can, if they got it in stock, get clutch lining material. It's only like 2 little rings. Super. Right, that's lovely. And tool out to write on that which one it is. I say, because we've got quite a few. Right, that's it for today. If you want to see the engine go in, subscribe please, and press the bell icon, and it'll tell you, it'll let you know when it's going to be done or when the video's out. Alright, cheers, bye bye.